All right, let's bring in former National Security Council Chief of Staff, Alex Gray. So, Alex, you have the Democrats saying these were just shipwrecked sailors that were being attacked willy-nilly by trigger finger folks up in the skies. I don't see it that way, but here's what Martha Raddatz from ABC said last night on ABC in a report that they did. I want to get your reaction on that. Roll it.
According to a source familiar with the incident, the two survivors climbed back onto the boat after the initial strike. They were believed to be potentially in communication with others and salvaging some of the drugs. Because of that, it was determined they were still in the fight and valid targets.
Now, that's what Senator Cotton seemed to be saying, that these guys were just interested in saving their cargo. They were going back to do the things that the boat was blown up in order to prevent. What do you think about all this?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, David. You know, as you said, Admiral Bradley is an extraordinarily decorated military officer, a Navy SEAL, one of the first guys on the ground in Afghanistan after 9/11. Really an extraordinary, just an American hero through and through. And when he gave that order, as he said he did, the way this works is he's not doing that on his own accord. He's consulting with uniformed and civilian lawyers. He's had all through the chain of command. These decisions are not made lightly. And I think we have to trust, based on his record, based on the fact of what he saw, based on the accounts that we're hearing from others, that these guys were trying to bring drugs into the United States. They weren't shipwrecked, Robinson Crusoe guys just hoping to get rescued. They were trying to bring drugs into the United States to kill American kids. Yes. And Admiral Bradley made a decision that I think we're going to look back on when we have all the information one day and say he was probably right on.
By the way, one thing I think everybody agrees on is that Washington Post piece that put it all on Pete Hegseth as a trigger finger nut job inside the War Department was dead wrong. I mean, they were absolutely 100% wrong. I think even Democrats agree with that now, right?
The mainstream media would rather side with narco-terrorists than give Secretary Hegseth credit for anything.
Right.
I mean, the idea that Secretary Hegseth was making cavalier comments about killing these guys, which has turned out to be totally untrue, was always ludicrous. And now Admiral Bradley, I think, is showing everyone that this was a serious, thoughtful decision in the best interest of both, a tactical decision and also the overall strategic effort, which is to make sure that these guys are not coming into the United States to kill American kids with drugs.
By the way, the Washington Post had another Hegseth-hating piece out today. I just wonder how much of this their readers can take. It's clear that they have a vendetta against Hegseth rather than an absolute curiosity about what really happened. Moving on very quickly to Venezuela itself. Are we going to see if not a land invasion, at least some military effort to unseat Maduro, because he doesn't seem to want to go?
Well, I think what the president's doing, David, is he's using this preponderance of force that he's brought into the region, and he's using Maduro's clear fear of what he might do to try and get some leverage for what I assume are back-channel negotiations to get Maduro to leave so that we can potentially have a Venezuela that isn't a narco-trafficking state and a Chinese colony. And so I think what the president's hopefully going to be able to do here is not have to use force. But as I've said over and over again, I think it's an extraordinarily America-first policy in our hemisphere to do a targeted, tailored, limited duration strike if necessary in order to accomplish a very clear objective. This isn't nation building. This is something that is designed to keep Americans safe from the drugs the Maduro regime is bringing into our streets every day.
All right, Alex Gray, we've got to leave it at that. Hope to have you back soon. Thank you so much for